Hello, dear friends. Today is January 19th, 2025, and this is our traditional review of the map of hostilities. The most significant changes today have occurred on the southern Donetsk axis. Additionally, geolocated materials have surfaced from the settlement of Chasiv Yar, as well as the first geolocated material in 2 weeks from the Krasny Liman direction, specifically from the settlement of Terny, which we will discuss and examine in this video. But before we begin, as always, I'd like to kindly ask you to subscribe to the channel. Your subscription greatly supports its growth. Thank you to everyone who has already subscribed. Let's get started. We'll begin with the Orekhovo-Vasilevka direction. Geolocated materials have been received from 3 points in this area. These points were targeted by airstrikes using FAB-500 bombs, with Russian aviation striking Ukrainian army positions. Otherwise, there are no significant changes here. Positional combat is ongoing along the front line, and the map currently looks as follows. Let's now move to Velyka Novosilka, where significant changes have occurred today. Yesterday, it was announced that Vremivka had come under Russian control. Russian troops raised the Russian Federation flag on the eastern outskirts of this settlement. Geolocated material from this area confirms the flag was placed on a building with a blue roof. Today, new materials confirm that the surrounding territory is also under Russian control. 2 days ago, the map showed Russian forces launching assaults on Vremivka, with advanced positions located at the following points. Today, however, the map shows that Russian forces have cleared the pocket south of Velyka Novosilka, secured Vremivka, and gained control of the supply route leading to Velyka Novosilka. The supply road that previously serviced Velyka Novosilka is now under physical control. Additionally, Russian forces have approached and entered the northern part of Velyka Novosilka. All areas marked in red are under firm Russian control. As of now, the Ukrainian forces in Velyka Novosilka are in a critical situation, effectively encircled due to supply lines being cut off. The Mokry Yali River prevents effective resupply, and any temporary pontoon crossings are being destroyed by Russian FPV, first-person view, drone units, which are plentiful in this area. Thus, it can be concluded that Velyka Novosilka is likely to fall in the coming days, with many soldiers either perishing or surrendering. Otherwise, the map for this direction looks as follows. Moving on to the Kurakhove direction, significant changes are also evident here. Russian forces are expanding their control zone south of Dakhny while bypassing the settlement instead of assaulting it head-on, as Ukrainian forces hold strong defensive positions there. By advancing from the south, Russian troops aim to sever the supply route and encircle the Ukrainian forces in Dakhny, forcing them to retreat without a fight. South of this pocket, Russian forces are also expanding their control zone. Geolocated material confirms Russian attacks on Ukrainian positions in forest belts in this area, conducted using FPV drones. Therefore, all areas marked in red are firmly under Russian control. Additionally, there are reports of Russian forces launching attacks from Zelenivka toward the settlement of Ulakli to cut off supply routes to Dakhny. For now, the map for this area looks as follows. Further north, the settlement of Slavyanka has come under full Russian control, as confirmed by Ukrainian forces. This development allows Russian troops to align the front line along 3 settlements, while advancing toward the supply route between Yasenev and Andriivka. Reports indicate that Russian forces have already taken control of the area between Yasenev and Slavyanka, where there are no Ukrainian positions, making this territory ripe for clearing and eventual Russian control. Russian forces have halted near the eastern part of Andriivka after capturing a heavily fortified Ukrainian defensive position, but are currently not advancing further. They may be waiting for the front line to stabilize before launching a coordinated assault on Andriivka from 2 directions. Regarding Yasenev, Ukrainian forces acknowledged its loss on January 16th, 3 days ago. Geolocated material confirms that it is under Russian control. Today, there were also reports of Russian troops attacking Andriivka from 2 directions, as well as New Oleksandrivka, with assaults launched from Uspenivka and the southern part of New Oleksandrivka. Notably, Uspenivka has also come under Russian control, according to Ukrainian sources. Although it awaits further confirmation, the first geolocated material from Uspenivka shows Russian forward positions in this area. For now, we can only mark this segment of the map as under Russian control. Once additional geolocated materials are received, or if Uspennivka is fully cleared and a flag is raised, the area will be updated on the map. Otherwise, the map for today looks as follows. Let's move to the Pokrovsk direction, focusing on the settlements of Udakhne and Kotlin. Starting with Udakhne. 2 days ago, Russian forces entered the outskirts of Udakhne and secured positions on its eastern edge. As a result, the supply road from Pokrovsk has been physically cut off. Russian troops are now advancing south of the railway, expanding their control zone along the supply route to Udakhne. With supply lines fully severed, Ukrainian forces are in a critical situation, relying solely on the western side for resupply. It is likely that Russian forces will soon take control of the entire southern area beyond the railway, before beginning an assault on Udakhne itself. Now, regarding Kotlin, let's switch to the map from 3 days ago. At that time, reports suggested that Russian forces had approached Kotlin and even entered the settlement center, though this information required confirmation. Over the past 2 days, it has been confirmed that Russian troops have captured high-rise buildings in the area. Let's switch back to the current map. These high-rise buildings overlook and provide full visibility over the entire settlement, making their capture a priority before launching an assault on Kotlin. Within the next 2 to 3 days, Kotlin will likely come under Russian control, given that the high-rise buildings are already under the control of the Russian armed forces. As of today, this segment of the front line looks as follows. We are awaiting confirmation and additional geolocated materials from Udakhne, where Russian forces may have already expanded their control zone. Let's now move to Pishchane. Today, geolocated materials confirmed that the entire area of Pishchane has been cleared and is under Russian control. Between Kotlin and Zverevo, Russian forces are advancing along forest belts. Ukrainian forces have brought significant reinforcements to Zverevo itself, temporarily halting or slowing the Russian advance. However, Russian troops are expected to continue advancing. For now, the map looks as follows. Moving further along the map to the Mirnograd direction, fighting has been ongoing in Baranivka for several days, but no new information or geolocated materials have been received. Similarly, there is no information from Toretsk. Notably, the Ukrainian army's last stronghold in this area is the Toretsk mine. Russian forces continue to assault this position, but the situation on the map remains unchanged. In Chasiv Yar, new geolocated materials have surfaced from this point. Let's switch to the map from 3 days ago. At that time, Russian forces had captured the refractory plant, leaving the Ukrainian army with only one final defensive line in the high-rise residential area within the private sector of this area. Russian troops did not launch a frontal assault on this fortified position, but instead employed a proven tactic of flanking. Today, geolocated materials confirm that Russian forces have expanded their control zone to the south, and there is unconfirmed information about northern advances. If this is confirmed, all Ukrainian forces in the fortified area will be forced to either retreat or face encirclement, leading to their destruction or capture. Otherwise, the map for this area currently looks as follows. Now, let's move to the Krasny Liman direction. For several weeks, no updates or geolocated materials were received from this front. Previously, it was reported that Russian forces were advancing from Ivanivka toward the settlements of Kolodyazy and Bilohorivka. Today, geolocated materials from these points confirm that Russian troops hold forward positions here. This marks the extent of Russian control in this area. Meanwhile, the clearing of Terny has been anticipated for 2 weeks, but no updates have been received from this section of the front. For now, the map remains unchanged. Next, we turn to the Kupiansk direction. As you know, this axis has northern and southern segments. The northern segment is quiet today, but there are minor changes on the southern front. Russian forces are advancing toward the settlement of Zeleny High, and geolocated materials confirm progress from Vysoky toward Zeleny High. There are also reports of ongoing Russian attacks on Bohuslavka and Novokruhlyakivka, though this information requires confirmation. Changes are being reflected on the map accordingly. Now let's move to Vovchansk. For a long time, no significant updates were reported here. However, geolocated materials today confirm that Russian forces have taken control of this territory, with forward positions observed. Thus, the entire area is under Russian control. The front line in this area follows the Volkhya River. Let me show you. The river runs here, and as a result, this territory is not fully under Russian control. The area is in ruins and remains in the grey zone, with the contact line along the Volkhya River. For the past 1 or 2 months, no substantial changes have occurred here. Finally, let's move to the Kursk direction. No map changes have been reported, but fighting continues along the entire contact line. Reports indicate active combat without significant shifts on the map. The only noteworthy update comes from near the settlement of Viktorivka, where Russian assault groups landed in nearby forest belts. Yesterday, it was reported that airborne troops had landed and established positions, possibly in preparation for assaulting either Viktorivka or Mykolaievka. The goal is to cut off Malolokhnya's supply routes physically. Ukrainian forces still control Pogrebki, Novosorochina, Stara Sorochina, Mykolaievka, and Viktorivka. For now, there are no significant changes along the Kursk front line. Thank you for watching and see you next time.